Welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is Tankcramer, and Will is off this week. Hopefully, he'll come back next week, and we'll talk about. I don't even know what we're talking about next week, but we'll get into that later. This week is all about the newest movie that just came out right here, Cruella, which is based off of the 101 Dalmatian movie, but her origin story. So she's a villain and kind of a bad villain, like not bad, but like a good bad villain. Like she was really evil in the original cartoon. So it's kind of interesting that they decided to do a movie on Cruella DeVille. My first thoughts was very Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. That's what I thought they were gonna do, but it's also Disney, so they're gonna Disneyfy it a little bit. Um, Yeah, so I'm gonna try to keep with the normal kind of stuff that we usually do when it's the two of us. It's probably gonna be a much shorter podcast. But yeah, so let us see the trailer. Where we at? Let's watch this trailer. So Emma Stone is playing Cruella DeVille. Cruella. I've been like messing with my girlfriend and saying the name all weird all week. So, but it was very dark, a lot darker than I would have expected. Of course, Disney, their character. Um, Boris and Jasper, which are like classic goons in the original. So, but then there's Anita Darling. She's in the movie. Roger as well. This is kind of a thing. If you don't know who those characters are, you might have missed it. That scene, I love that scene. That was a really interesting scene. This one too with the moths. But yeah, this was a very, very different movie than I expected it was going to be. But Emma Stone was really good, really, really good. Yeah, she was she was really well in the show. There you go. She's Cruella. I know you guys can't hear it, but yeah. So movie starts with her like narrating her childhood. So she was born, and then one thing I found kind of interesting was that she was born and she had that hair was born with that hair, which I was like, I don't even know if that's actually possible for something like that to happen. If you can have a black and a white perfectly split down the middle kind of color. But that was interesting that they decided to go that route, that it was like her natural hair color and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, she was I guess it was her and her mother, and they went to a party. She was kind of like a bad girl, got into trouble in school and all that good stuff. Then they went to go to a party and they asked for help, and then she kind of got into it. Dogs, Dalmatians, of course, got out and like started chasing her. And my first thought was, why are these dogs at a party? If it's so they're so violent. They were so evil dogs, which was kind of like a twist for me. Like I thought it was pretty interesting that they made the Dalmatians kind of very aggressive, very like I want to say evil, but bad, like always snarling, chasing people and stuff like that. But yeah, they made the Dalmatians evil in this one, and Cruella is still kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, I want to start off. I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. Um, I wasn't sure what they were gonna do with it. I'm like, are they gonna just like all in her head and she's still crazy? I didn't know, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really well done. Really well done. I really like the whole aspect of like her in was it the 70s, I believe, something along like that. And she was like in this like punk rock like scene, which was like super cool for me. I was like, oh, that's like really, really interesting, like the England punk rock scene, like, or London punk rock scene back then. See who else was in it. I can't think of her name. Emma Thompson was the Baroness, which was really cool. Mark Strong was in it. He was really, really good. A few other other people. No one with too much of a big name. Joel Fry maybe, but everyone else was pretty much Emma Stone and Emma Thompson were the main two, which is funny because they have the same name and it kind of like ties into their connection in the movie a little bit. Um, but yeah, so right off the bat, like it got really dark, and her mother was killed, and Cruella blamed herself. They were at the party, and these dogs were chasing Cruella, and they went and they knocked her mother off the cliff. You find out more about that story later towards the end. Trying to think if I was missing something major. There's like a necklace that her mother gave her. It's like, oh, it's a family heirloom kind of thing. I was like, oh, and obviously, once she saw her mom die, she ran and dropped the necklace, of course. And then she kind of falls with Horace and Jasper, which were her goons in the original animated movie. And they kind of get into a bunch of mischief kind of stuff. Oh, but one thing I thought was really interesting was that wasn't her real name. Her real name wasn't Cruella DeVille. Her name was Estella. And Cruella was this personality that her mother gave her. She goes, "Oh, your name is Estella, not Cruella." I was like, hmm. And then she kind of like took that. So whenever she was being bad, she was Cruella, and whenever she was normally she was Stella. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It was like this alter ego of this character rather than that's who she was. So they really did a few cool things in it. But so Stella wants to be a designer. So she goes and finds work and finally gets a job in like a high-end like designing company, and she gets drunk. She winds up being just the janitor, the cleaner of it all. So she winds up going and getting drunk one night and changes the front window, which I guess that was a big no-no, but she thought it looked ugly. Made a cool like scene writing on it. It was all like kind of crazy and very like punk rockish, I guess, if you want to say that. And the Baroness, which is Emma Thompson's character, who's like this queen of fashion in London at that time, sees it and hires her, and then she starts working for her, which is like her dream come true. I'm working for the Baroness, and she does a lot of good stuff. The Baroness really enjoys what she's doing, all the designs and all that stuff. But the Baroness is kind of just any other rich kind of person. Any work that anybody does for them, like it's her work. So, and but that's when you find out the Baroness has her necklace that she left, and you kind of find out like it was her Dalmatians that jumped and pushed the mom over the cliff and all that stuff. So now you're like, oh, so now she's starting to really kind of lose it a little bit. That's when like that's when the transformation from Stella to Cruella kind of really happens, is when she finds out that her boss, the person she idolized, killed her mom. So stuff like that. So she was in a party. She wants to steal back her necklace, and stuff like that. And that's when she starts becoming mean to their guys, Jasper and Horus, which Joel Fry was Jasper and Paul Walter Hauser was Horus. Great, they were amazing. I thought they were really, really good in the as those roles, because like the whole time they reminded me of the 101 Dalmatian cartoon, It was just like, the tall, lanky guy, the fat, shorter guy, and they were they were on point. They were so good with that, just everything with how they interacted with each other and stuff like that. I really enjoyed them too, as her goons, as her henchmen. But yeah, they go and try to steal the necklace, and it goes messed up. It goes like, kind of crazy. One of the Dalmatians winds up eating it, of course, kind of thing. But that's when Cruella makes her debut, and she sets that dress on fire and stuff like that. And then this picture is like her there, and it was supposed to be a black and white kind of thing. And the Baroness was her. That was her event. So whenever anybody outshined her, she got mad and would like get them kicked out. And so she went in there to outshine her in the biggest way possible to be a distraction. But in doing so, she kind of really embraced Cruella on what she could be. And I thought that was kind of interesting. That was like, oh, she has this personality inside of her. That's this not this like boring person, this little redhead girl. It was also Cruella. So she starts like chasing her down, and anytime she has an event, Cruella messes it up with her big kind of stuff, and does all her trash can dress stuff. It was really, really, really awesome. I love that about her. And yeah, she would always like outshine her somehow. Which was super interesting, but she was really good. I didn't think I was gonna like Emma Stone as her, but she wound up doing pretty, really, really good kind of thing. But so it goes through blah blah blah, all that stuff. And at the end, she's trying to get a revenge. The whole time, revenge. They're tricking each other, kind of stuff. She figures out that her worker, that Stella, is Cruella, and kind of sabotages each other. But then Stella tried to kill, like, the Baroness tried to kill Stella or Cruella, and obviously she didn't. She might awake. And then the big reveal, so spoilers, is the Baroness is the mother of Stella, of Cruella DeVille. So that was a big thing. It was that the Baroness is so crazy and so off the boat kind of stuff that after she was mad when she found out she was pregnant, and then when she gave birth, she told her butler, which is John, played by Mark Strong, to take care of it, and he took the baby, and couldn't kill her, so she gave her to another worker of the house, and then that was her mother that later you find out was killed. And I was like, that was pretty interesting. I didn't think they were gonna like, oh, that's her real mother. I thought like, oh, she was gonna be a family member, like an aunt or something along those lines. I didn't think, or even like a half sister, maybe stepsister. I was thinking something along those lines, because Disney likes to do that whole like stepdaughter, stepmother kind of stuff. So, but yeah, those are real mother. So it became a real weird thing of like mother daughter, but the Baroness does not care. Like, she is horrible. And Cruella sets up this whole big event. She kind of takes over this event from the Baroness, and she she thinks she's still alive after she tried to kill her. So what Emma Stone did, which Cruella, is made all her guests dress up as black and white to look like Cruella, which was super awesome. I thought that was really interesting, and just all at the end, just to trick her, and then to trick her, it was like a win-win. Because like, if you don't kill me, then it means you accept me as your daughter, which would be awesome. But if you kill me, then I am, everyone's gonna see what you're doing and what you did. And so it was really, really, really good from Cruella's point of view. So pushes her over the ledge, the same spot where her mother had died, and she obviously doesn't die. Cruella saves it, and then she gets arrested, all that good stuff. And since she is the daughter, she becomes there's some legal stuff, blah blah blah, but she basically becomes the new Baroness. She inherits the castle, all the money, and all that good stuff. And that's kind of where it ends. And the whole time I was really kind of like, I'm like, when does she become like evil? Because in the movie she wants to kill, in the animated movie 101 Dalmatians, she wants to kill those dogs. And I'm just like thinking the whole time, like, when does she become evil enough where she's starting to kill dogs? And me and my girlfriend are like, well, like kind of going back and forth. And she was even telling me, she goes, well, maybe it's just like a different, kind of story. It doesn't directly lead into it. I'm like, that defeats the purpose, you know. But besides that, I was like, they never made her the evil villain that she was in 101 Dalmatians. They did make her a bad person, and she did mess up stuff, but everything she did was kind of justified. So I wouldn't say she was like a horrible kind of person. Like her mother, the Baroness, was a horrible person. She killed people and stuff like that. Um, I think the Baroness did set a rumor though, which would kind of lead you to believe the 101 Dalmatian issue, kind of her killing dogs, is she wore a spotted at this scene she wore a coat that looked like it was made out of Dalmatian skin. And the Baroness is like, oh, she killed my dogs and made a coat. So that rumor kind of spread, which obviously she didn't. Cruella didn't. Um, so I don't know if that was the rumor that made her, like, people say she kills dogs. But in 101 Dalmatians, she's like, kill those dogs. I was like flat out, like, I want those dogs dead. I want a new coat and outfit and everything. And I'm like, so she's not. A good person. And here they kind of made her likable. And I don't think that's a character that you should like. Um, and I know I don't want to compare it too much to Joker, but the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix was kind of the same thing. Was like, I don't want to be empathetic to the Joker because he is a psychopath. And the movie, I thought, did a really good way of, like, I understand, but he's still a bad guy. Where this movie was like, oh, I get where she came from, but I still don't understand how she is from at the end of this movie to the beginning of 101 Dalmatians. Where is that link for me? I don't know. Maybe I missed things since the last time I saw 101 Dalmatians. It's been a very long time, but yeah, here she has the three dogs that killed her mom, which I thought was like, okay, you're just gonna like maybe she hates those dogs and she kills them, but didn't. One of them winds up getting pregnant, and which leads to a post-credit scene, because of course Disney does post-credit scenes. You cannot have a Disney movie without a post-credit. Well, this was like a mid-credit, I guess. Anita, who is the human wife in 101 Dalmatians, she gets a dog, obviously, because that's how that movie starts. And her former lawyer, Roger, who went from being a lawyer to writing jingles. And I was like, huh? So I'm like, because she said in the movie, Cruella, when Roger was her lawyer, was Baroness's lawyer. To correct that, was the Baroness's lawyer, and she's like, oh, he's a good lawyer, and he likes to play piano, and he's really good at it. That was the only connection. Was like, oh, he's good at playing piano. I was like, okay, but I mean, he writes jingles for a living in the movie, and in this movie, he's a lawyer. How do you go from being a lawyer of the top fashion designer, in the world, or whatever they're trying to do, to being a jingle writer? I thought that was a little, meh, but it's something I can like, all right, whatever. They just had to put a Roger in there. But overall, this movie was, I thought, really, really well done. I enjoyed it a lot, a lot more than. So that's Anita. It's Anita Darling. I forgot what her last name is. But yeah, they were like friends since like kids, since they were like in elementary school and in private school and stuff like that, which is cool. I don't say I think pictures of uh of Roger, but she She was very punk rockish, which I appreciated, but it was very at the same time not who I thought Cruella was in the original movie. But I mean, she's a designer, so I guess she had to be, like whatever was big at that time. So really, really interesting, good stuff. There's a few dogs in the movie. Wink was one of the one of the dogs who was Horace's dog, and I love that dog. He had a little patch, and he would like do the schemes with them. What the angles they called it, and he was like really really yeah, his horse. It was really cool. These are all the posters, but yeah, I gotta say this movie was well done. Emma Stone did a really good job. They for me, I think they left a few loose ends of how Cruella became soulless, kind of that she was gonna kill dogs. Um, Besides that, maybe they're gonna explain it in a sequel. Because I can definitely see them doing a sequel with this one. You know, because I guess there is some more time between when the humans, Roger and Anita, have their dogs, which are puppies still, to when they grow up a little bit. So there might still be another couple years or so between the end of this movie and when that movie starts. So maybe they can finagle something where she really kind of loses and goes off the edge, so to speak, like her mother's. Um, but yeah, definitely has some loose ends that I want to see tied up. Like I said, me and my girlfriend, she's like, he goes, it's different. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. I'm like, but it's an origin story. It's a prequel to it, so I want to see stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, some of the good stuff, the acting was amazing. The soundtrack was so good. Everything was like British, old school kind of punk rock. They had some other kind of stuff, very old, like not gonna say very old, but old like British kind of music, and it was like super good. Like Queen, this had a bunch of really good stuff. Also the acting by everybody, oh excuse me, was so good, so good. Emma Stone is this. I thought I always liked Emma Stone. I thought she was really cool. This was really good. I usually don't like when American actors do a British accent. Um, Same thing when British actors do American accent, you can kind of like hear and it can be a little annoying after a while. She did a pretty good job. I think she did a pretty good job because Cruella was always a very over the top kind of exaggerated British kind of voice anyway. So somebody of her skill set, like Emma Stone's skill set, I thought was really really well done. Um, and she was able to switch it back and forth between being Stella and Cruella, which was pretty well done, I thought. Um, this scene when she's kind of like finds out about her mom and that her birth mom killed her adopted mom, and I mean that's a lot to process. That was a really this scene where she's like kind of talking to a fountain which represents her adopted mom who loved her. That was a very powerful scene, and I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed that scene. Was like that's the point where you're like on the edge of your seat, kind of like what's gonna happen? How is it gonna end? Um, so yeah, I mean, if you liked the movie 101 Dalmatians, you probably will like this. If you're a diehard like Disney fan, you'll definitely like it. I thought it was super well done. Um, if you're kind of sick of some of the live action kind of remakes, this is completely different. This is not like an Aladdin or a Lion King. This is like a whole new story of the one character. And it was so well done. Oh my God, Emma Stone made me love her more. Yeah, I mean, she was spot on with this. Spot on with this. 10 out of 10. That's what Oli gives it. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, this was really, really well done movie. Everything looked good. The soundtrack, the vibrant colors. Like I liked how it went from being like sometimes very like foggy and everything kind of dull, like especially like this picture right here, everything's kind of like dirty and like that British kind of feel you have in your mind where everything's like kind of rainy, and then you have these big huge pops of color from usually Cruella, or it was the colorful person of the movie, and she had bam, like this scene alone was super cool, once she comes out of her shell and starts showing off like that she is like big, she is who she is, like the future, that's the big one, you know, painted on her face. Um, but yeah, I mean that's the Baroness. That's you find out who's her biological mother, but is evil, evil, evil. And I guess you're supposed to come to the conclusion that Cruella is evil because it's kind of passed down. Um, and it reminded me very much of Game of Thrones. The Baroness, oh my god, she was a top bitch. She was she was in charge. She reminded me of other people that I know or worked for that were also very everything you do under my name is great for me kind of thing. And I mean, if you want to call that stealing, not stealing, working for you, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, she was in charge. But also, she was legit off the rocker, man. She was crazy, and I think that's what you're supposed to say is like she was very like the Targaryens. If you ever watched Game of Thrones, stuff like that. Brian said I saw Emma Stone wants to do Ursula, the Sea Witch origin story next. I can't see Emma Stone doing that. I can't see Emma Stone doing that one. That'd be too much. I can see some other probably good people doing stuff like that. Um, Not Emma Stone though, and she is Cruella. I think that's she said. I mean, she's not gonna play every evil evil woman villain from Disney is gonna be Emma Stone. Um, but yeah, going back to like her the craziness being passed down was definitely very Game of Thronesy Targaryen kind of stuff in my it was a Targaryen, yeah, Targaryen in my head was like, oh, Khaleesi is destined to be evil because it's in her blood kind of thing. I'm not a big fan of that. I was like, oh, when they break the chains, which, where Game of Thrones is a whole different argument, but here they kind of did that enough where you're like, oh, okay, she's not as messed up as her biological mother, but she's still messed up, you know. But she does. I just that's the only thing that bothers me, and I know my girlfriend's gonna. I'm surprised she's not in the comments. Like, get over it. Is like, when does she become so crazy that she actually is killing dogs to make an outfit? Like, when does that happen? And I do believe there's from the end of this movie to 101 Dalmatians, there's at least 2 years, or at most 3 years, somewhere in there. So there could definitely be a sequel to this, or it could just be a whole different thing. They just redo 101 Dalmatians again, But live action with Disney like remakes is not good. I thought this was pretty spot on. I when they first showed Anita, I was kind of like, oh my god, okay, cool. I'm surprised there wasn't as much backlash because since she is a black woman, I'm surprised that she like so many people were like, "What? No!" It was like, But look, I don't think I really heard anybody say anything about that. Um, Yet they should redo it. Yeah, I wouldn't mind them redoing it. I just don't know. Can Cruella from this movie be the same Cruella that we saw in 101 Dalmatians? We saw it kind of starting to for sure, but she still pulled back where the 101 Dalmatian Cruella was all in. Like, we're killing these puppies, drown them, beat them, all this stuff she said was like, it was like where this one, she definitely pulled back. I feel like the Cruella in 101 Dalmatians probably would have killed the Baroness. So, but also the Baroness has killed people, a lot of people from what she made it sound like. But I wouldn't mind them redoing it. I think they did it once, a live action 101 Dalmatians. Didn't go over too well. But I did, man, Emma Stone was great in this movie. I loved her in this one. It was really perfect. Really perfect. And Mark Strong. I don't know how Mark Strong can he is the same exact person in every single thing he does, and yet he gets these great freaking roles. He gets these great roles. She said beat them. Yeah. Well, she said beat them. She also said like drown them. I don't remember that. I haven't seen 112 Dalmatians in a long time. In a long time. So the right hand man of the Baroness is Cruella's right hand man. I don't know. It kind of became that where the guy behind her, obviously on her left up there, the one who helped Cruella, yeah, which is John. I don't know. I don't know if he becomes her right hand man because John, the one who helps Cruella, yeah, he doesn't show up in 101 Dalmatians. It's only Horace, Jasper, and Cruella in the movie that I can remember, and I don't remember what happens with John. But it seems like he's loyal to the family, and she's family, so that's why they changed a few things and added some things. Nothing where I was like mad about. Um, I enjoyed his flip flop of who he's loyal to kind of thing. But same time, like he knew the Baroness was crazy, for a long time, and he still stuck around with her even to the very very end. Like he could have just like not been around her. Even at the last party, he's still there helping her, and I was like, but he knew what was going to happen to her. So I don't know. That was really interesting. Um, Trying to think what else. But yeah, Mark Strong. I love Mark Strong, but he always is the same kind of character. But I don't know if yeah, John was a cool character. He's the one that saved her. I guess he saved Cruella twice at that point. So, but yeah, she was really good. The thrift store guy was really good too. I can't think of his what was it, Gerald, I believe was his name. Oh no, Artie. Felt like Jasper was a love interest for Cruella. Didn't he like her? Yeah, it was definitely going down that road of of Jasper having feelings for Cruella. And I thought that was a little weird. But I thought I'm like, oh, maybe once she kind of goes full on Cruella and stops being Estella, that he'll probably pull away. But then they had that weird balcony scene where she was kind of like, oh, that's why I love you and blah blah blah. I kind of like you. You look. What is it? I like you when you look angry or worried or whatever she said. So yeah, they had a weird little love kind of thing going on. Um, but yeah, same thing. In I guess they had to do it, but in 101 Dalmatians, it was just strictly villain and henchman kind of stuff. But yeah, I didn't mind that too much. It didn't take me out of it too much. But I love Joel Fry as Jasper. I thought he was really really good as Jasper, and then Paul Walter Hauser as Horus was so good. He was so good. He was goofy, but like not too much where you're like, it's annoying. Um, really good. But everything everything he's usually in, it's usually pretty well done. I remember he was in Black Klansman, and his role in Black Klansman was pretty good. He was like the dumbass Cobra Kai. That's right. He's in Cobra Kai. He's the older guy. Well, not anymore. I think they kicked him out of the show. But he was good. I enjoyed her henchman. So So I know Oli, she was in here. She gave it a see. I would love to see a movie a couple of more times. I loved it. Yeah, so she loved it. She gave it a 10 out of 10. Um, I'm pretty close up there with that. I know we're not doing. We're trying a new thing now. Get to a good picture of Cruella. Where we're doing now, later, or never. So now means obviously go watch it right now. Find an English poster. So yeah, watch it right now or watch it later, which is you can watch it whenever. No big deal. Or I think I have this one. There we go. Yeah, now, later, or never. And this one is definitely a now. Watch it now. It's on Disney Premier Access, so you can pay $30, I think, and you watch it at home. It's in theaters as well, so you can go to the theaters and watch that. But yeah, this one's definitely watch it now. Watch it now, and it's gonna make you want to watch 101 Dalmatians because I do want to go back and I want to watch that cartoon. I mean, one, it's a great one of Disney's classics. And I this was so good. This was so good of a movie. Loved it. Loved it. And I was just coming in. I'm like, okay, it's probably gonna be pretty good because Disney is usually pretty good. And I'm like, but then I remember towards the end of the movie, it was just like sitting up, and I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen? How is this all gonna go down? It was really well done. Really well done. The director, Craig Gillespie, what his name is. Did a really good job. Yeah. So I think Glenn Close was a executive producer, which was another live action of Cruella, which is pretty. I don't remember that one too much. So they said we watched it in theaters. Oh, nice. And we saw the 101 and a bit of 102. Didn't finish it yet. Nice. I don't remember 101. I don't remember 102 too much. I know they made a bunch of sequels, and then they made a bunch of shows. There's a new show now on Disney, 101 Dalmatians, with that weird, like, kind of newer animation that I don't care for. But yeah, theaters were nice. I watched it at home, and I have a digital copy of 101 Dalmatians, I believe. So I'm probably gonna watch that pretty soon. But yeah, great movie. Go watch it now. This is definitely a now kind of movie. Great acting, great storytelling, great music, great everything. This movie was really great all the way around. Loved it. Definitely one of my favorite movies of the year so far. Up there in the top 3 for sure. Enjoyed it. Emma Stone deserves an award for this movie. She was pretty good. She was able to switch between, like I said earlier, she was able to switch between Stella and Cruella, which was very two different kind of personalities. One, obviously, but she did a great job. I loved it. But yeah, probably end it there. Do a little bit of a shorter one. I was only expecting to go for 30, but went for a little longer. That's all right. But if you guys have any thoughts about Cruella, let me know now. I don't know. Before we go, let's see what it did. See what it did in Office. I know Quiet Place took the weekend. I know that for sure. Man, I hate Forbes. Let's see. So 5 weekend box office takeaways, blah blah blah. Let's see. Paramount, come on. I want to see what he got. I know it. I know it had to have done pretty well. There we go. So box office mojo. So yeah, Quiet Place got first place for sure. $30 million for that one, but Cruella got runner up, got second. It looked like that one got 21.3 in the first 3 days of the long weekend. I guess they're not counting today yet. But yeah, I haven't seen The Quiet Place yet, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about that one maybe eventually. We'll see. Um, but yeah, this one I thought was going to be worth more of a conversation. Um, which it was. I mean, this movie was so good. Loved it, loved it, loved it. All right. But that is it for this week for the Spoiler Kings. So, want to let everyone know that we have changed our name. We are now the Nerd Huddle. Oli said, that's not bad. I want more Cruella. Definitely. I definitely want another. I want another movie. 100%. I want to see more of Emma Stone for sure. And this movie is gonna set up like what Brian was saying earlier, like a Ursula kind of thing. I could see them doing an Ursula movie, with somebody else. They already kind of have Maleficent, which is from the Evil Witch, not Evil Witch. I can't think of it. But yeah, so they have her. So Ursula's next. She's the only she's the only next one that I can see her being really good. Because then you could do an Ursula movie and then right into a Little Mermaid live action movie. That would be awesome. But yeah, we'll talk about that more maybe on Thursday's show. Yeah, Maleficent, Sleeping Beauty. That's right. So yeah. But yeah, so today is Monday, and every Monday you're gonna catch us right here on the Spoiler Kings on the Nerd Huddle channel. And Spoiler Kings, we talk about all the movies for the weekend. Martin said Maleficent was great, Sleeping Beauty. Yep, he was right. So yeah, so Monday's here. Tuesdays we got Panda and Grizzly with Brian and Alfredo. They are talking about the first 4 weeks of the season and their OTAs for the Chicago Bears. And then Wednesdays, we got the Dynasty Pylon on the Dynasty Pylon channel. Go over there, subscribe to them with Martin and Mark. And they do IL fantasy football, but IDP and Dynasty fantasy football, which is super hardcore fantasy football. So if you are a fan of that, go check that out. Thursdays, me and Alfredo, we talk about pop culture and everything that's trending and stuff like that. And Sundays is the morning spike where we talk about football and fantasy football, all that good stuff. So we're getting ready to get into the season already. So we're breaking down divisions over there. And then next week, we haven't figured out what movie we're going to do for next week, but it's going to come out pretty soon. But we'll be here again. We are now the Nerd Huddle. So make sure you go over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. You can also follow us on everywhere else. We're on TikTok. We're throwing some TikToks up there. Facebook, Instagram. We're going to be a little bit more active on it. Spotify, if you want to hear just the audio only of every podcast. But that is it for this week. Go watch Cruella right now. Everyone in the comments loves it. Oli gave it a 10 out of 10. So it is worth a watch. But yeah, thank you guys. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.